Imagine a country where more than 30,000 everyday people armed only with brooms, wheelbarrows, and determination did something truly incredible. This wasn't about politics or fundraising. It was a nationwide movement that changed the heart of a nation. The story takes place in Burkina Faso, one of Africa's poorest countries, where citizens came together to clean their streets, schools, hospitals, and neighborhoods. And in doing so, they reshaped their country's future. It's a powerful example of national pride, unity, and real grassroots change, all sparked by a single call to action from a young, visionary leader. In September 2023, a powerful wave of energy swept across Burkina Faso, a landlocked country in West Africa that rarely makes global headlines. Over 30,000 people from all walks of life joined forces. Farmers left their fields, market vendors paused their trade, teachers stepped away from their classrooms, students took a break from their studies, parents, soldiers, everyone set aside their normal routines to focus on one mission: to clean up and restore their homeland. But this wasn't just about picking up trash or sweeping streets. It was about restoring dignity, bringing people together, and building a brighter tomorrow. The spark that lit this fire came from the country's young president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. His message was simple but powerful: Burkina Faso belongs to us. It's our shared responsibility to care for it. That message hit home. It spread quickly and inspired people all over the country. What followed was historic. Citizens didn't wait for government orders or military instructions. This wasn't forced. It was voluntary. It was a people-powered revolution that came from the heart. Neighborhoods across the country sprang into action. In cities, towns, and remote villages, men, women, and children picked up simple tools: brooms, rakes, wheelbarrows, gloves, trash bags, and got to work. Dusty roads were swept clean. Marketplaces got a fresh start. Hospitals were scrubbed until they sparkled. Schools were cleaned and made ready with pride. Parks and public areas, once forgotten, were restored. For 7 straight days, the usual background noise of daily life was replaced by the sound of sweeping, shoveling, and teamwork. Many places had struggled for years with poor sanitation. Trash blocked drains. Dirty water made people sick. But now, those problems were tackled head-on. Alleys once filled with garbage became clean walkways. Public squares and gathering spots were transformed into places of pride. But the change went far deeper than just appearances. This wasn't only about cleaning, it was about mindset. It was about taking ownership. It was about saying, "This is our country, and we care," and it showed. Health experts noticed immediate improvements. Hospitals saw fewer cases of illnesses like diarrhea, cholera, and other waterborne diseases. Doctors and nurses said their workplaces felt safer and more hygienic. In rural areas, many communities were able to access clean water, against something that instantly made life better. Elders in villages, some with decades of memories, watched with amazement. Many said they had never seen their communities so clean or their people so united. It wasn't just a cleanup, it was a moment of transformation, a moment where the people of Burkina Faso showed the world and themselves what they were capable of when they stood together. The sanitation movement in Burkina Faso wasn't just about picking up trash, it was about bringing back hope, restoring dignity, and creating a powerful sense of shared responsibility. For the first time in a long while, people saw what they could accomplish when they came together for a common goal. Beyond cleaner streets and healthier neighborhoods, this movement sparked a deep wave of national pride. People across the country realized something important. They didn't need to wait for outside help, foreign aid, or government programs to make a difference. Real change, they learned, had to start with them, with their own hands, hearts, and determination, and that's exactly what happened. The results echoed far beyond the country's borders. One of the most inspiring parts of this movement was how inclusive it was and how leadership emerged from every part of society. Women, often the backbone of their communities, stepped up in powerful ways. They led cleanup teams through busy markets, local neighborhoods, and public gathering spots. Their leadership was a strong reminder of the crucial role women play in creating real change. Young people, full of energy and hope, organized cleanup squads at schools, playgrounds, and community centers. They turned it into a youth-driven movement that inspired their friends and classmates to join in. Even the soldiers, usually seen guarding borders or keeping peace, came out of their barracks not to enforce anything, but to work side by side with civilians. They joined hands with the community, showing a unity that crossed social lines. Religious leaders, elders, and teachers added their voices to the cause. Imams, pastors, and traditional chiefs spoke about the cleanup effort as both a moral and spiritual duty. Teachers brought the message into their classrooms, helping students see the importance of taking care of their surroundings. Everyone had a role, young and old, men and women, no matter their background or job. Why was this such a big deal? Because it was Burkina Faso's people stepping up to take ownership of their country in a way the world doesn't often see. This wasn't about charity or waiting for someone else to solve the problem. It was about dignity, self-reliance, and showing that real progress doesn't always need massive resources. It needs willpower, strong leadership, and a shared dream. for a better future. This movement proved that even a country facing economic struggles can do something amazing when its people work together. As the cleanup effort grew, its impact began to spread beyond Burkina Faso. Visitors from neighboring countries like Ghana, Mali, and Niger came to see it for themselves. They were amazed by the scale of the effort and the spirit behind it. Experts from international organizations and public health groups took notice too. Some even said that Burkina Faso's approach could be a model for other African nations dealing with similar challenges like overflowing urban waste, poor sanitation, and public health issues. What made this movement stand out was its low cost but huge impact, which caught the attention of the world and was praised as a powerful example of what community-led change can achieve. The success of the campaign inspired a bold next step. President Captain Ibrahim Traoré announced that this wouldn't just be a one-time event. From now on, Burkina Faso would have a national cleanup day every month, a chance for communities all over the country to keep the momentum going. This turned a powerful week into something long-lasting. It created a structure to keep the spirit of unity and responsibility alive well into the future. For millions of people in Burkina Faso, this wasn't just a project, it became something deeply personal. School kids who took part in the cleanups wrote heartfelt essays about their experiences. Many shared how proud they felt of their surroundings for the first time. Teachers saw real changes in students who never used to care about their environment, but now were excited to help and talk about it. Women who helped lead the movement even wrote songs celebrating the volunteers. Their voices echoed through marketplaces, towns, and village gatherings, reminding everyone that the heart of this revolution was the people themselves. Cultural groups turned the momentum of the cleanup into celebration. They created dances to honor the renewed sense of cleanliness and unity, turning the whole movement into something joyful and deeply meaningful for all generations. Religious leaders called the cleanup sacred. In mosques, churches, and traditional gatherings, they spoke of it as not just a civic duty, but a spiritual one. They reminded everyone that caring for the land and the community is a reflection of faith and shared values. These personal and cultural responses turned the sanitation revolution into something much bigger than just cleaning. It became a revival of Burkina Faso's spirit, a rediscovery of what it truly means to be a citizen with purpose and pride. At the center of it all was Captain Ibrahim Traoré. His leadership didn't just inspire people, it moved them to action. His voice, broadcast across radios and televisions, stirred hearts across the nation. But it wasn't just his words that made the difference, it was what he did. He didn't stay behind a podium or in an office in the capital, Ouagadougou. He rolled up his sleeves and joined the cleanup, working shoulder to shoulder with farmers, shopkeepers, students, and volunteers. That kind of leadership, grounded and hands-on, lit a fire across the country. It showed people that change wasn't something they had to wait for, it was something they could build together. And the world noticed. Neighboring countries like Ghana, Mali, and Niger praised the movement. Some of their leaders even admitted privately that they could learn a lot from what Burkina Faso had done. Development experts in Europe called it a textbook example of sustainable community-led change. The United Nations called it a scalable, low-cost model for other countries to follow, especially those struggling with urban waste and poor sanitation. What Burkina Faso had done wasn't just impressive, it was inspiring. So what does all this really mean? It shows that real, powerful change doesn't need big budgets, foreign donations, or expensive consultants. It begins when people believe in their own ability to shape their future. It starts the moment they stop waiting for someone else to come fix things and decide to take action themselves. Burkina Faso's sanitation revolution is proof that even the simplest tools, a broom, a rake, a wheelbarrow, can lead to massive transformation when used by a united community. In his closing speech at the end of the sanitation week, Captain Traoré said something that stuck with people everywhere. We may not have all the riches of the world, but we have hands to work, hearts to care, and hope to dream. That is more than enough to transform our nation. Those words became a rallying cry. They reminded the people of Burkina Faso and all of us that true strength doesn't come from money or power. It comes from the resilience, the hope, and the shared will of the people. Here at Heroic Fable, we believe stories like this need to be told, because real heroes don't only exist in movies or comic books. Sometimes they're farmers, teachers, students, mothers and children, ordinary people who pick up a broom and change their country's future. They're the ones who remind us that big change often starts with small, quiet actions. So what can we learn from Burkina Faso's story? It reminds us that while leadership matters, the real power always lies with the people. You don't need to be rich or powerful to make a difference. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to care enough to act. A strong nation isn't measured by its wealth or influence, but by the unity, determination, and spirit of its citizens. This isn't just a story about Burkina Faso. It's a message to everyone, everywhere, wherever you live, whatever your situation. Change begins with you, in your street, in your school, in your home or community. You don't need permission. You don't need a big team. You just need to believe that your small action matters, because it does. If the people of Burkina Faso can come together with their bare hands and reshape their future, then each of us can do something too, because heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes, they carry brooms, push wheelbarrows, and hold on to hope. If this story inspired you, give it a like, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to Heroic Fable, where we share real stories of courage, hope, and people who make a difference. Let's celebrate the unsung heroes of Burkina Faso. Let's honor their efforts by doing something meaningful in our own communities. Because real change doesn't come from waiting, it comes from doing, and it starts with you.